Mountain Dust for Get the Box, and we're going to talk about living in a metal city. Have you heard of that news? Yeah, the city council passed a motion that says that we are now officially a heavy metal city. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that recognition?
I think that's great. I think it's well deserved. Montreal has a lot of great acts that comes out of it, and we have this festival every year, which is huge. To get all the names that they have come out here, I think it absolutely makes sense that it would be made official.
How did it feel in terms of like your personal experience as like a Montreal band? Making your name here, becoming who you are today.
How does it feel?
Well, how did it go?
How did it go?
I guess so.
Oh, it was long.
Oh yeah.
I've been playing. I grew up like on the South Shore. I moved into the city, I guess like 13 years ago.
Okay.
I was into like punk bands, and we would do like crappy tours and play really crappy shows all the time. This is the first time I've ever played music that's sort of like this.
Uh-huh.
So it has been like, I don't think I was ever really like trying to do anything more than play a couple gigs. So it's been fun, but also kind of depressing.
What do you mean by that?
When you're young and doing crappy tours that you booked yourself, and you have no money,
right?
It could get pretty bleak when you're on the road. You get to a new city, and once you get there, you find out the show's been canceled. And then you realize like you have no money, like you go dumpster diving. It can get pretty hard.
But things are better now?
Oh yeah. I'm also in my 30s, so I'm not as much of a deadbeat. I could go buy myself a meal if I need to.
That's fair. Okay, so now let's talk a bit about the band and their music.
Yeah.
How would you describe the style of music that you guys do?
Dramatic.
Dramatic?
Yeah. Cinematic is one we like to toss around a lot.
Right.
I like to. I think the whole cinematic vibe comes from the fact that, Pat's playing lap steel adds a lot of effect to the song, and with the lyrics that I write, I'm always like really describing something.
Right.
Like I've always liked a lot of Paul McCartney's songs are like a story that he's telling. I've always taken to that, so that really came together and to give us that cinematic vibe.
Yeah, that's the kind of vibe that I have personally been getting as well, because like I've been really into kind of like coming up with like a soundtrack to this like sci-fi western that I have in my head.
Oh yeah.
And you guys like fit that perfectly.
That's awesome.
So what I was wondering actually, like in your head, do you feel like you're a soundtrack to something? And if so, what's that? What is it?
It's a soundtrack to the own like weird little world that I'm creating like bit by bit on paper and in my head. I'm a huge nerd. I've played a lot of like D&D in my day, and like
nice.
I test video games for a living, so I've played a lot of video games. So to me, this is like I get to create my own little world, but it's not like it's all made up stuff. It's just how I like to create it. It almost compartmentalizes like that part of my life where I have to write down these things. They go into that box, this little world over here.
That's pretty cool. And like, I'm so glad you brought up like Dungeons & Dragons, because I play that myself. That's like the exact kind of like the same reason why I was looking for that soundtrack for myself.
Okay.
Because I was trying to come up with like inspiration for the world that I wanted to create.
Okay.
But speaking of like the sound that you guys have gone with, like how did you come to that description? Because you were talking about like your own like origins in terms of like your genre as a musician was different.
Yeah.
And now you guys like almost completely different.
Yeah.
But similar.
I think it's a very like really like long and drawn out kind of natural progression. Like we originally started the band with Kevin Keegan, who plays in Barnburner and Dead Quiet. Mm-hmm. It was just me and him one summer, have a few beers and write songs on acoustic together. And eventually we had a pile of songs. They're all just like, Kevin's like, all his bands are more metal, and I've always played bass in my bands previously, but I would always play acoustic guitar at home. So like those two combined just made for like very melodic sort of heavy music. But then a year later he quit the band, and when Pat joined, he came in on lap steel and organs. So we kind of just scrapped all the songs and restarted. So I think we kind of, I don't know if I consciously catered what I was writing to what Pat was playing, but it all just kind of unfolded that way.
Yeah, I guess they go hand in hand. Right?
Yeah.
That's cool. What kind of like other musical influences do you have? What do you listen to?
Lately I've been listening to probably, I think any rational human would say, maybe too much Deep Purple and Scorpions. It's kind of like every day I listen to, like, instead of working, I'm listening to that. Really big into Nick Cave as well.
Okay.
When we started this band, I was listening to the Beatles a lot. Again, Paul McCartney songs. They always have that storytelling. It really helped me kickstart this thing. Tame Impala too, kind of like off the spectrum with that one, but I listen to them a lot. Kind of a go-to.
As a last question, I guess, what does the future hold for Mountain Dust? Where do you go from here? What can we expect?
We keep on trucking. I don't know. We definitely want to play. So we kind of like debuted our festival playing in Europe when we toured there last year, and now we're lucky enough to get added to this here today. And we hopefully we'll be able to keep applying and getting accepted to more festivals around the world. I think that's where it's at.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you, man.
This has been Mountain Dust talking to Forget the Box at Heavy Montreal 2019. Thanks for tuning in, and stick around for more interviews. See you around.